Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am showing you how to make a delicious caramelized onion dip. It is a dip that you can make for a party, eat on a Friday night with some drinks, and anything else in between. This dip combines Greek yogurt and mayonnaise for a little bit of a lighter take on your traditional dip. For this dip you can pair it with bread, crackers, or crudités, really anything that you like. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Stick around because I have lots more appetizer videos coming for you soon. The thing that makes this caramelized onion dip so delicious is the fact that we're adding a little bacon to it. For this recipe, we're going to cook the bacon in the oven, which is a great technique that I use all of the time. First, line a sheet pan with some aluminum foil, and then grab your bacon. For this recipe, I'm using 7 slices of thick cut bacon. You can always bake some extra if you want to add it for garnish on top. Lay the bacon close to each other on the sheet pan, and then we're going to pop it in a 400-degree preheated oven for about 12 to 16 minutes. You'll have to check the time starting at about 10 minutes to make sure that the bacon is exactly cooked how you like it. While that's cooking, we're going to prepare the caramelized onions. I'm going to show you really quick how to cut an onion so that way you can small dice it. If you've never done this before, this is a great technique to learn because we use onions all the time in the kitchen. First, you'll cut horizontally and then you'll cut vertically, and from here it nicely dices the onion with little to no waste. To caramelize our onions, I'm heating 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a skillet over medium to high heat. Once the pan is hot, add in the onions and reduce the heat to medium-low. We want to cook the onions nice and slow, stirring often to make sure that they don't get overcooked. At this point, your bacon is probably done, so you'll want to remove it from the oven and then transfer it over to a bed of paper towels to soak up the excess grease. I personally like my bacon nice and crispy for this recipe, but if you prefer it a little bit underdone, feel free to bake it that way. Once it's cooled, you can chop the bacon up into about bite-sized pieces, and then we're going to set this aside to use later in our dip. While you're prepping the bacon, don't forget to check on the onions periodically. It should take about 15 minutes to get them to a nice golden brown color, and once they're fully cooked, you can remove them from the skillet and allow them to cool. Okay, now for the fun part is putting the whole dip together. Make sure that your onions and your bacon have both had time to cool before you start this process. Then combine 1.5 cups of whole milk plain Greek yogurt, 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, as well as the bacon and the onions. We're also using half a teaspoon of dried dill, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of Morton kosher salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Stir everything together until it's well combined. Then transfer the dip to a serving bowl and allow it to refrigerate and chill for about 30 minutes so all the flavors come together and marinate. Then you can serve the dip alongside chips, crackers, or crudités. The full recipe along with tips and tricks will be linked in the description below.